viewers, we are back with another exciting episode, and we are at Pate Studios. And today, my guest would be Dr. Dev. Hello, doctor. How are you?
Uzair.
And Esther. Hello. How are you today? So, as pet owners, we want to examine closely our pets' behavior, and we want them to be calm. We want them to be happy, whatever the situation is. And in today's episode, we will look on the common behavioral issues that we have seen before, during, or after the pet relocation. So we will start with Ms. Esther. Would you like to tell what experiences you have, like you see pets, the behavioral issues during or after or the pet relocation?
Okay. So we actually face like a lot of issue, but we're gonna start with anxiety. So pets, anxiety can causes like new environment, new places. So it gets, the pet will actually like get anxiety, like nervous when it comes to new environment. And then secondly is the separation anxiety. This is when the pets are actually away from their owners.
And then we can mention a few things about kennel guarding also.
Kennel guarding, that one.
So I think first we will talk about just before we go into specific behavioral issues, we have to look at the character of the pets, right?
Yes.
Character of the dogs, right? Some dogs are just aggressive, right? Are just aggressive. Even the owners are scared of that, right? So, or some dogs are actually unpredictable. Like they can be extremely loving, and then a few seconds later they can snap at you, right? And then you also have pets that are quite timid, right? And if they see you and you say hello, they can get scared until they actually urinate.
The places.
Or some of them at first they don't want to, they're shy. Right?
Yes.
Let's put it this way. Okay, it may not come as a behavioral problem per se, but it's all part of a spectrum. But the majority of pets, they are okay, and they're somewhere in the middle, and they're not too shy or they're not too scared until they're aggressive or anything like that. Right?
So this all information you can get from the pet owners, right? When they are coming, they would be familiar with their behavior, right? So it would be good they can tell more about that our pet is aggressive or our pet is timid or very shy.
Yeah. So usually before like handling the pet, we actually like ask the owner like, are they like friendly? Are they aggressive? When it comes to like different people like handling the dog. So there are also like ways like we need to like inform the the owners like how to actually handle their pets. So if like let's say that pet is like aggressive, then from there we need to actually give the muzzle on. Make sure that the muzzle is on.
Or maybe sometimes the aggression is not too bad, right? So maybe the owners have to handle them and all that, and then we can see. But whatever it is, we need to know in advance so that we can prepare. So the important thing is prepare. Not suddenly we are faced with a animal and we are taken by surprise and we are unprepared.
Yes, then would be chaos and situation would be bad. We don't want that.
It's not chaotic because our staff are quite experienced, so usually it's okay. But it can be, especially if they're taken off guard. And then if their pet is quite timid and all that, we can slowly introduce ourselves to them, especially with the owner there. So so we can introduce us. Introduce. Can get friendly. Correct.
Can get friendly. Okay. So doctor, you can put some light on separation anxiety. Is it too bad? Is it always, or like few pets are okay, few have it more or something?
Yeah. So earlier, actually, Esther asked, Esther mentioned about separation anxiety. She also mentioned the anxieties to new stimuli, right? So all the five senses, right? Smell, sound, all these kind of things. Okay, but the anxiety we're going to talk about, you asked for separation anxiety, right? So separation anxiety, it comes in a spectrum as well, okay? You see at home sometimes if you have a pet dog and you actually go to work and you leave the dog, some dogs will actually start barking, okay? So that's actually on a mild scale. But as it gets more severe, the pet can start scratching,
destroying the thing, they just showing their
destroying
reaction.
the house, destroying the furniture, the sofa, all these kind of things can be completely destroyed. So you have dogs doing that, right? And then they can also urinate and also defecate. And they can even cause harm to themselves, right? So they can start biting themselves and so that. So if that happens, your pet relocation person, would, for example, like us, we have to be told about all these things in advance, especially if it's severe, right? And if it's severe, it needs to be treated. So there are medications that you can use to treat, but it'll take a month or a few months before you can see any improvement, or until you find the correct medication for that problem, right? So a separation anxiety is something that should be handled in advance. Well in advance. It can be handled, especially if it's not so severe. So it requires some training and all that. Okay, but often it's a bit tough to handle something like this. But what's important in the context of pet relocation is we have to know about this. Right?
The first thing is just be transparent with your pet relocation partner. They need to know about the behavior, about the past, about everything of the pet. So it doesn't come like in the middle of something the pet start acting and you don't know them. That would be very bad. So the pet owner should communicate well and tell you about the pet's behavior and everything. So
correct.
These issues can be handled advanced and not on that time.
Earlier she mentioned about the other anxieties, right? You want to talk about that?
Okay, for other anxieties, so this one is like new when the pets are going to a new environment. New environment, new smell, then there's like changes. So it's like so new changes, like changes of places is like the pet.
You see, they'll be going on the flight, right? So they go to the airport. So before the airport, they'll be going the vehicle. And then they'll be going in the plane, and then from the plane they'll come out of the plane, they'll go into the airport. Alright, so during all those experiences they'll be exposed to all sorts of different sounds, smell, new experiences, people. So we can't control all of those things, okay? And including there could be a thunderstorm, right? So a lot of things we can't control, but what we can control is the crate, right? So coming back to crate training, right? So crate training we should start like a few days to a few months in advance, especially if the pet has anxiety related to new things, right? So we can use something like this, right, Esther?
Adaptil, we can use Adaptil. We can actually spray inside the crate
and train them. Train them in advance, so they they will learn how to use the crate. And then when you spray this, Adaptil is actually a type of pheromone. So and in some pets it works quite well because they will feel happy basically. So they'll feel happier and they'll be able to identify with the crate. So that's why you train them in the crate, with the food bowl, with the water bowl, everything. So once they are familiar, at least the internal environment is constant to some effect. And then the external environment we can't do very much.
We can't do it.
But you see here we also have a supplement like this, so you can give this together. So for treats like this, so in general it just calms the pets down. So there are a few items that you can use for calming, and there's only a few of these snacks that or supplements that work well here in Malaysia. So we can use these things to just calm them down, and some of them they actually work quite well together. And especially if their anxiety levels are on the high side, some of these things will help. So what's important is we have to prepare, right? We have to plan and prepare so that the pet feels happy.
The pet feels happy. So I think with this note for this episode, this session, we can go to the end. But the takeaway for this would be just be transparent with your pet relocation partner. Just let them know about your pet, their behavior, so everything is handled in advance. And as doctor said, we cannot control the outer environment, but we can control the kennel in which they are. So they are a bit calm and relaxed inside it. With this, I think we can sign off for today. Thank you, doctor.
Thank you.
Okay,
Yeah,
bye.
bye.
Thank you.